Greetings and welcome back to another episode of Modeling on the Fly with 3ds Max. And let's just jump right in and continue. I was working on the head of the AT-AT walker guy here. And I'm going to try to wrap up the remaining parts of the armor here, and then maybe a couple of pieces here on the front area. And then we can start working on the underside, which would be great. So, let's see here. I've got some pictures like I always do. Let's see. We need to get this plate in. A couple little greebles here and there that, we can just kind of make those up as we go. I think as long as there's something in the general area, we'll be just fine. But I think what I'm going to focus on first will be this little piece right here. And this looks like a perfect opportunity to use another quick shape. So let's take care of that. Now the way I think I'm going to do this, let's come over, let's create, let's make a rectangle. Auto grid is on, which is good. And I just want to double check one more time. All right, so let's go right about here, I suppose. And then I'll grab the move tool, we'll right click in X, and then I'm just going to create a new one. We'll go ahead and leave start new shape on. That'll be alright just this once. And let's make another rectangle. Try to center it up about like so. Right click. Now I need to make sure that that's also centered up, and just one more quick peek at the picture. Yeah, it looks about right. Now, let's see here. Let's go into our modify panel, and I'll grab the larger of the two guys here. Let's convert this over to an editable spline, and I'm going to attach it. So let's just click on attach and get this guy. So now they're both part of the same object. Let's go to the spline sub-object level, and probably a good idea to press F4. It should make these guys a little bit easier to see. So let's see here, we need, let's deselect attach, so make sure you right click at least once. Now I'm going to jump down here to Boolean operations, and I want to do a union here, so let's see, let's grab U, click Boolean, grab the other piece, and there we go. So now we have one shape out of the whole thing. Fantastic. And let's drop down a bevel, and the settings that are coming along with that look like they're going to work. We're getting a little bit of interesting division here, which we should be able to make go away if we edit the shape, but let's go ahead and convert that over to an editable poly, and that solves the problem. So let's jump out of here. Let's also go ahead and put our material down. So that kind of fits. Now, what else? We've got a couple little greebly kind of shapes. If you're just interpreting, there's one here, and then there's a couple more as we work our way back. Now, also, let's just kind of glance up here. We've got this little indented area up on top, which is good. Also, ours flares, and it doesn't look like this one actually does, but that's okay. We've also got an indentation up here that we could take care of. That would be kind of nice. And then a couple little other random greebles kind of scattered across in a couple of different locations. So we'll take care of all that in one fell swoop. So our first bit, let's just go create a rectangle. Or a box. That's actually what I meant to say. So grab a box, and let's just drop it here, and I need to really set those segments down finally. Get my move tool, and we'll zero that out. Go ahead and just convert this over to an editable poly, and let's make a few kind of quick and easy changes. Now, some of these I'm just making up a little bit as I go. I'm just going to keep this from looking like a completely perfect box. So let's take this face, and I'll scale it out a little bit. And then if I pull back a little, let's grab this edge, and I'll just move it down a little. We'll ring this. Grab, do a quick chamfer. Say somewhere around there. Click OK. And now let's get out of sub-object mode altogether and make sure we drop down our material. Alright, now moving backwards, we got a little box kind of thing over here. Now let's see, do I have something I could just kind of steal from another location and tack over there? We could probably grab that. Nah, let's just draw something. It's just faster. So let's say U. And we'll pull that up to about there. Now, we can't see too much of that. Or at least I don't think we can. Let's see if we have any other pictures that might show it. Not that I'm really all that concerned about one little greeble. Here it doesn't even look like it's present. There's something going on here. Maybe it's just some really high-end beveling. But on this one, it looks like, yeah, it's very difficult to tell. Let's see if we can cycle through the pictures and find some other indication. It looks like this, what's going on here is this bevel piece that we've built actually has a really thick bevel, and that may be what's showing up. And that's also kind of an indication of it as well. So let's just go ahead and play it that way. Instead of this thing being quite so thin, we can, well, let's just nuke this all together. Let's grab over here, and we've already converted that, not converted. We converted that into an editable poly, but of course that's easy enough to change around. So let's grab faces. We could start just by pulling this up a little bit. Now let's see here. If I switch this over to local, yeah, we're kind of moving those together, which I don't necessarily want to do. I just wanted to try that. All right, well, just thicken that up a little ways, like so. And, ooh, I got an idea. I don't know how well this is going to work, but I'm going to try it anyway. Let's grab a ring right here, and let me just scale these up just a tad. That just kind of increases the size and makes that bevel a little bit thicker. We lose the perfect 45-degree miter angles here and there, but that's okay. That's not going to bother me at all. So we'll get out of the sub-object mode. Let's grab this guy, and we'll just slap him back down here. Now, he may not actually be there, but I don't know. I think it really depends on what angle you're looking at. I see something there, so we'll go ahead and leave it. It looks kind of cool anyways. All right, so let's see. What else do we need? Because we probably could call it. Now, here's something. I was working on the last video, and I know I didn't actually get to finish it, was this ramp piece. So let's do this. Let me grab my attach, and I'm going to attach this guy and this guy. So these are all going to be part of the same polygon object now. And let's drop an FFD lattice on here. And we'll jump over to, well, lattice points. So let's grab control points. Make sure this is actually set to editable poly. Grab control points on the lattice. Get you and you. And I guess it would help if they actually got selected. All right, now if we move those, excellent. So we can pull that down and make it look kind of like a ramp. Get that sort of tilt that it seems to have. And that, of course, is very cool. Now, let's go ahead and just convert this back over to a new editable poly. Sort of empty the stack, so to speak. Now, I'm going to clean all this up. What happens if I loop that? What do we get? Ooh, nice. That's what I want to see. So we'll get you, and then loop those as well. Now let's do a quick chamfer. And that's way too much chamfer. So somewhere right about there. Click OK, pull back. And I think that'll probably do it. So let's press F4 and step back away so that we can see what this looks like without any wires in our way. Now, there's an indentation right over here that we need to take a quick look at. So let's hit F4 again so we can see our wires once again. And the way I'm going to handle this is, with this object selected, let's go down and grab our slice plane. So let's go down to the element sub-object mode. I'll press F2 so that that's not quite so obnoxiously lit. And let's go down and grab the slice plane. Now this really needs to be rotated. So let's grab rotate. And we're already rotate snapping, so we'll pull that up 90 degrees. Like so. Take a quick glance at a picture or two. Now it's off to the one side. Get kind of a general idea of where. That's a pretty good shot to help us out. So we'll pull this over to about there. And slice. And then about here. And slice again. Go ahead and turn off the slice plane. Let's hit 4. Let's grab this face by itself. I'll go ahead and hit F2 to turn on full face highlighting. And let's do an inset. Now, oh, I didn't actually finish the inset. Silly me. Back to polygons. That's probably about as far as it needs to go. I'll switch over to edges, and what I want to do is take this edge and slide it up a ways. And let's kind of figure out, yeah, it's about halfway between, maybe a little closer to the little inset area. But if I slide both these down to about here, I think we'll be right where we need to be. Okay, now let's just hit 4. We'll do a quick bevel, zero both these out, and let's just go down a tiny little bit, and in just a bit. And let's just click apply there. Now we'll take the outline amount, pull it down, and then we'll just make our indentation like so. Click OK, and there we are. So now we've got our little indented area. Now I do need to bevel this, or chamfer it, the whole thing. So let's go back to edges, and we want this, and let's see what a loop gets us. Not much, unfortunately. Well, I didn't really want that, but that's okay. Let me just grab these manually. Alright, I think that'll work. So now let's do this again. So we're just going to come in, chamfer, pull that down to somewhere in there. Click OK. Get out of subobject mode. Get out of the editable poly, and that's looking pretty good. The only thing I see that is kind of apparent to me on the model is a little bit of a funny, greebly sort of shape up here. And we probably have something that we could reuse to make that happen. So let's see, if I poke around a little bit, and we can also just draw something, you know. I don't know what it is. I don't feel like copying stuff, and we can just make it up anyway. So we got some funny stacky shapes, and then 2 little, I don't know, spheres or something on top, and then just a little block area. So let's grab a box. Auto grid is on, so there's our little blocky area, and that was easy. This guy, we're going to draw something like this up a little bit, and then we'll draw a little elevated area on top of that. We will make a clone of the elevated area, like so. And then, let's see here, we can do a sphere. And the segments is turned way down, and it's got a hemisphere. Let's set that to 0.5. Actually, let's just copy one over. That way we know they're the same size. Absolutely wonderfully pointless detail. Okay, so now let's jump over to the modifier panel, and that's still a sphere, so that's not going to help us much, but I don't think we need to make any changes to that, so let's just leave it as a sphere. Let's grab all this stuff, though, and these can all become editable polys. And at this point, you probably know the drill, but we got to go through it anyway, so let's see. I could probably get away with some attachments to speed things up. So let's grab edges, press F4 to make them a little easier to see and select. Okay, and then we'll ring all of those. And last view, 1, 2. Oh, deselected that guy. No good. Bam, awesome. All right, now we need to get these chamfered. Give it just a little bit of detail there, and click OK. Now let's see here. Just because I feel like it, let's take. And let's just make something real quick. Yeah, let's just make something. We'll go right here, pull up a little bit, and convert. Let's grab. Oh, we could just grab everything, but I don't really want to do that. So let's switch over to edges. Give me a ring there. There we are. Now we need this and this one little guy up here up top. Now I'm going to chamfer all these. Just a tiny little bit, like so. So it looks pretty rounded, right? Let's grab the whole thing. We'll sink it down into the shape just a little bit. And then I'm going to position my camera just so, and then just because I feel like it, I'm going to drop on the good old array system. And let's see, we shouldn't need any Z change. Y we don't need either. We need X, and we need to preview this. So let's try 3.5? It's pretty close. Maybe 3.45. 3.42. That's probably about where I want to be. So now let's just take the count and increase that. I was really hoping that total would, well, never mind. That's pretty close. And a whole lot of little copies of that guy. Now let's not move that guy around. What I want to do is grab all this stuff. And drop on our material. Press F4. And there we go. So just a little bit of extra detail there that we've added. Because you never know, you might need some little vent for some important tracking computer system which is installed up there up top, right? All right, now that is going to just about take care of what's going on top of the head. We could double check all the photos. There may be little things here and there we can add, but I think overall we got it. So what I want to do is add a few finishing touches to this area. So let's go back and hit F4 again. And what I've got in mind really is to make some chamfers in a few key locations. For instance, if we grab edges and we need this guy, we could probably get away with chamfering that, but that could end up being problematic. So I'm going to save that. And if we end up chamfering it, I'll do it manually. Now, how bad does this get if I loop it because I'm feeling lazy? Well, it's going to do little corners and stuff everywhere, so let's not do that. Let's just go ahead and be steady and thorough, and we'll just grab all of the edges that we know we need. I'm going to need to flatten these guys out too at some point. I'll take care of that shortly. I've kept putting it off, like over and over I've put that off. I'll notice it and be like, oh yeah, you need to do that, and then I never do. Alright, so this is going to take some serious selection. This will probably end up looking weird, and may end up requiring some intervention, but we'll go with it for now, and if it becomes a problem, we'll just address it. Actually, we could test it, I suppose. Just worst case, we just have to undo it, right? Oh, that's coming along okay. I don't think that's going to break anything too bad. Let's cancel that and keep on selecting. I do have a lot of admiration for the chamfer algorithm over Maya's bevel system. It just seems so much cleaner, because I've used both a lot. And I really prefer chamfer over Maya's bevel. And honestly, it's not often I get to say that, but Max's poly tools are just, they're really second to none. They make a lot of the polygon modeling process very, very easy. So yes, I use Maya a lot more often than I use Max. Nobody's denying that. However, there are some things that even I will be the first to admit that Max can just do a lot better than Maya. And a lot of stuff that goes the other way as well. click so many edges, this starts to look like something out of Tron. Now, how cool would that look, really? To take an AT-AT walker and then doll it up with the highlights so it looks like it belongs on the set of Tron? And that just sounds like a geek's, like, well, nasty dream come true. Sorry, I crack myself up sometimes. And in case you're wondering, yes, I know that I'm not funny. So, let's see. I need this, and then this, and all this. And we need this guy over here. Okay, and boom, 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 boom. So many edges. And you know what's going to happen? Inevitably, invariably, I will miss some critical edge that I know I was supposed to get. As a matter of fact, I've just kind of suddenly decided that I want to get... did I select somebody up here up front that I didn't need to get? It looks like I did. Let's turn on ignore backfacing. We'll get to all that. Okay, I want these guys. And we'll hit Q so we don't accidentally nudge something, because that would get ugly at this point, yeah? And you, and you. Do. Now we need to come across here. Now we got to do the other side now. And up to there. Is that everyone? I need to double check these corners over here now. Okay. And bump, 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 bump. And let's go ahead, double check these corners, and let's make sure we got them on the other side too. Because we have that asymmetrical groove up at the top, so if you were thinking, well, why don't you just do this on one side and then symmetrize it? Well, we can't. So there. Alright, we could, but I'll worry about that when we get to the back wall. For now, I think we're okay. Now we can put these in. And there we go. So now let's try one great big chamfer. And need to make sure we inspect it in a lot of different places before we just kind of say go. I think that looks pretty good so far. Oh, that looked really clean. That looks really clean. Yeah, let's just go with it. Get out of sub-object mode, press F4. And now we've got just that little bit of corner highlight on all of the pieces, which makes all the difference in the world. Now, something I've been needing to fix, probably should have fixed it before the bevel, but, you know. But we did, so we fix it now. Let's get these guys, and we need to move these in view or world. And I'll press F4 so I can see my edges. And let's just slide these guys back until that looks like a pretty straight line. So somewhere right about in there. And then I think we can come in here to polygons, let's see, 10%, but I don't want to select back faces if we can avoid that. So yeah, just those. And then we can, so those are within 10 degrees of each other. That's a good indication. We can make those planar, and that cleans that up a bit. Cool. So yeah, the bulk of the head, the really visible parts of the head that you see when this thing's walking around and being menacing and stuff, are done and looking pretty nice. We still need to put the cannons on the side, of course, but those are going to be kind of like a real hardcore finalizing touch, because the cannons will be their own model, really, that we'll just tack on when we're finished. But now I want to turn my attention down here to the underside. And we have a few pictures of this. We can at least get a little bit of headway. Headway, get it? Okay, even I thought that was lame. Yeah, so let's see. We've got this funny little box thing here. And yeah, it's got a vent in the front. It looks really important, too. It looks like you absolutely have to have this piece in there. And it divides the two cannons up. Fortunately, we're lucky in that we only have to really model half of the underside here. Now, the big thing we need to remember to make this really authentic are the great big Phillips head screws that hold this thing together. If we forget those, then the whole thing might fall apart during combat, and that would just be bad. So we gotta remember the great big Phillips head screws. I think I'm actually going to stick those in there just to amuse myself. Now, as I was saying earlier, we only have to put half of this detail in. The rest of it will just kind of take care of itself if we use like the symmetry modifier. I'm not going to worry about the cannons right off the bat. I think I'm just going to start off with this kind of central area. It's almost like a center console on a car, in a way. So let's see. I got a picture of this thing from the front. There you go. It's kind of getting there. So I have this kind of little drop-down area, and there's a tiny little vent up here in the front. Oh, there you go. And then we get the bigger vent back here. Now, our image planes are probably showing something along those lines. So let's switch over to our back view and pull everything down. And, whoo, yeah, because I pulled all that stuff off of the Direct 3D shaders, it's not going to look all that hot. So let's see, boom. Oh, we can get some of it actually from there. Now, I'll bet I accidentally took that and applied another material to it. It's entirely possible. So let's see here. We have freeze. Let's see if we can unfreeze those. And he's still frozen. Actually, you know what? Let's just leave that alone. I don't really want to mess with that right at the moment. Because I can just build it and get it started, and then if we really need to change the shape with anything dramatic, then we can handle that via something like an FFD a little later. So let's just go ahead and get underway. I'll grab all of these guys, and I still had select by angle on, which is nice, because I want to pull this down just a little bit further, because I want to get this area right in here. So it drops down, it's almost parallel with these by the looks of things. And then it comes down even further, and has this little ventilation shafty sort of great thing. And here just looks like a box. Okay, so let's just start there anyway. Pull that down to about there, and then we'll extrude. It'd probably help if I had my wires turned on, so I can get an idea of how far I'm extruding. So it's actually coming down quite a ways. So let's go ahead and get that out of the way, and I'll just click OK there. Now, these faces here in the front. Now, I need to turn off select by angle at this point, because we're going to grab just these two faces. Let's do an inset, and we don't need to go that far with it. Probably right about there is fine. Click OK. Let's extrude inward. Click OK. Let's grab edges, and we can loop that, and then run a real quick chamfer. It doesn't have to be very much, just a little bit to kind of help us out. So we could probably make that a little thinner. So hang on a sec. Let's cancel that. Let's undo a couple of times and get back to here. I'm just not too satisfied with how that turned out. We can do the inset again, and we'll pull it to... This is why I always do these by the numbers. And then we can scale this in just a little. Yeah, something about like that. Maybe scale it that way. At least that way we have a nice tool that we can use to make that happen. All right, now let's bevel and kill out the height, kill out the outline amount, pull in just a tiny little bit, teensy weensy little bit, and do a little bit of an outline. And then apply, and then we'll kill out the outline, and we'll just drag this back in, click OK, and there we go. So there's that first little bit there. Now, this guy back here, that is applied. So he's got to be frozen, and we're just set to show frozen in gray at the minute, which that's just weird, because he shouldn't be frozen right now. If I take the image planes, I should be able to hide those and freeze those at will, and everybody's fine. So I'll need to figure out what's going on with that, because I haven't changed anything from one file to the next. Something's just a little bit wonky there. Alright, now, if we take a look at some of our other photos, this next piece that drops down actually has a little bit of a taper to it. And on top of that, it's got an opening at the front, and it's got an opening at the back. And to me, that means that it's a prime candidate for just being an entirely separate piece of geometry, and not even trying to worry about attaching it. So, let's see here. Now, I want to check a few things. That whole thickness, this whole area here, it looks like it might be a little bit wide to be able to fit the cannons in, I'm thinking. So what I'm going to do is, with my polygons on, let's go ahead and switch on by angle. Let's grab here, and then also I'm going to carefully, let's turn off angle, and I want to get this guy and this guy, as well as this guy and this guy. Now we should be able to just scale those toward one another, and causes some interesting glitches here on one side and not the other, which is probably due to a little bit of a beveling issue right here. But that's alright, I can fix that. Actually, what we could probably do, if we're really gentle, we could grab this face and this face. Then we don't have to sweat it. We should be able to just pull everything in now. So let's see. Do we have another front shot that I can click through? So the thickness is almost the same thickness as this front panel. So if we've already decided on that, we should be able to base this off of, base one off the other, kind of like so. And now we've opened up a lot more room for those cannons on the side, and I like that a lot better. In fact, I'm going to go in just a little bit more. So there we go. We've got most of our head done. We're actually officially working on the underside, but our time here is pretty much up. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the video. I wanted to thank everybody for watching. Send out yet another huge thank you to all of our member sponsors who make these kind of videos possible. And I will catch you all on the next episode of Modeling on the Fly with 3ds Max. Take care.